coming. Thanks for joining me. So this is a replacement class. It was really supposed to do a little takeover this morning for Fit and Well, but unfortunately we're having some technical glitches. So I'm going to do it here, and hopefully we can catch up with Fit and Well another time. So thanks so much for joining me. This is going to be about 40-45 minutes, and there are 3 goals with this class, okay? The first goal is I want you to try to find your heels, okay? Most of the time, let's try and be about a good 50% of our weight in our heels. Let that soften our knees a little bit and bring our pelvis into a nice neutral position. Feel the rest of your foot relaxing in contact with the ground, okay? The second rule is taking a nice breath in, okay? Breathing in, the tongue on just behind your teeth on the roof of your mouth so that you nasal breathe, okay? And that's the main thing with that. I'm not going to worry too much about everything else, but the third rule is that when you breathe out, let your lower ribs really drop in and back without losing this, okay? So the heels, the inhale through the nose, and the out breath connecting the low ribs. Those are our 3 goals. Okay, so we're going to start off just with some nice, simple loosening of arm floats. So bringing the arms up, come out into a little bit of a Y at the top. Coming all the way down, breathing out as you come down, breathing in, feel that into the back, come out into a Y. So you're really letting your shoulder blades start to move on the rib cage as you're doing that. And as you're breathing into your back, you're creating a nice surface for your rib cage, for your shoulder blades to move on. Okay, 2 more. Trying to get the shoulders, elbows, and hands in a straight line with each other. My timing's all out because I'm talking at the same time, but you've got it, you've got it. Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to do what I call goalie throws. So take your hands just hang them over your shoulder blades there, okay? And you're gonna go up with your elbows, breathing out, really drop your lower ribs, okay? And breathing in, let your arms come in, let it roll, let your knees soften. Find your back. Breathing out, find your heels. Get your lower ribs down, shoulder blades coming back as you open up the elbows. So the elbows open out and then the shoulder blades move as well. Great, that's number 2. We've got 3 more. I'm just going to turn the comments off only because it starts to block the view. If I can turn off commenting. Great, you guys are doing great. And as you go through this and you get used to the movement, you can really use that exhale to get those ribs down, get the diaphragm up, get the pelvic floor up. We'll repeat that again later. Okay, we're going to go down onto all 4s. I'm going to move my camera over. Fantastic. Got a pretty good view of me there. Okay, so from here, we're just going to do same side knee hugs. So in this position, it means that you've got to like balance a little bit more on this side. So I'm going to start off using my right leg, okay? And we're going to try and balance. I'm actually going to use opposite arms. Coming up. So you're doing that same rounding. Come away. Get your ribs up. Let it kick up through your hip. And we're just going to work, we're going to keep working the same side. Okay, for 10 on each side. And really let this, as you breathe in, really let this open out in your back and the back of your hip. Good. Getting those low ribs down as you breathe in. Try and keep a contact on the whole of your hand as you move. Low ribs, low ribs, low ribs. Really letting your shoulder blade come around your rib cage, tucking these ribs in, letting that stretch in the back. Breathe out, engage the ribs, lift your heel. Fantastic. Okay, we're going with the other side. It's a really different movement, right? We're so used to just kind of going straight backwards. And the thing about being here and really holding your ribs is it really stops you flinging up and just putting all the movement through your back, which ultimately is kind of unhelpful. So I'm going to really reach into the floor with my palm, letting my shoulder blade move around my rib cage. Breathing into that whole back line. Anchoring, 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 anchoring. I'm going to try and not kind of just push myself off to the other side. So staying really stable. I am terrible for losing count. Great. Okay, and now we're going to do some cross connects. So, one hand on the back of your head and rib cage, rib cage, rib cage. Get that shoulder opening, get the arm back. Don't let yourself push too much to the other side. Oop, lost my balance for a sec. Doing really great. Good, stay with it. 2 more. Fab, let's swap sides. Okay, hand on the back of your shoulder, driving that hand into the floor, creating space for the rib cage and the shoulder blade, and don't make your breath follow the movement. Really let the movement follow your breath. Remember, not letting yourself shift away on this side. Good. Last 2. Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to do the cat camel, okay, which I affectionately call boobs and butt. So it's this movement, okay, but I really want you to put the movement into this place in your back that least wants to do it. So if you think your upper back wants to do that, then your lower back wants to do that. That's the natural curve. So we're going to go butt, butt, butt. We're going to make the lower back do this movement first and then let it come up. And boobs, 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 boobs. To the ground and then butt. So, butt. Get those low ribs in. Breathing out, boobs, boobs, boobs. Really feeling that space in your back to breathe into. It's what I like to call the back of the heart space. So really thinking of the area that you have available to you. Think of it as a real point of allowing. Wow, it feels really good. Okay, now we're going to be in the same position. So just come into your neutral. So your ribs slightly lifted, your pelvic neutral. Okay, and here you're just going to lift your heels. Now, if you have a wall handy or doing this in the future, it can be really helpful to get into this position where you're driving your heels into the wall. Really connect that with the back of your pelvis and your lower belly. You will really feel the abs working in this super hard. Okay, if you don't have a wall, don't worry about it. Just going to be here, make sure you guys can see me, and hold it for 2 more breaths because you've probably already done 3 and you're probably really feeling it already. Just let your knees hang under your hips so you're not driving out or driving in. Get your heel in that imaginary wall behind you. Ribs back. Okay, now we're just going to lift our hips up a little bit. We're really driven that from the in-breath, driving from kind of the pit of your lower belly. Come back down. Staying there. That shaking is good. Driving your heels into the imaginary wall behind you, or the real wall if you've got one. That's great. Driving the hips up through the pit of the belly. Imagine you've got a baboon butt and you're really breathing right into that baboon butt. Really create space in the pelvic floor. Allow for all the diaphragm and all the domes in the body to drop a little bit. Relax, ground. Let go. Coming back. One more breath here. We're going to jump. If jumping's not good for you, just walk up to standing. Otherwise, get your heels on the ground and straight up. Fantastic. Okay. Right, we're going to come back down. Let's come back down into child's pose. We're going to repeat some of the bear stuff in a sec. Now, what I want you to do is grab your block, okay, and or your cushion. I find if it's too hard a surface, I find it really confronting. But having just something on this left side, so you're going to place it just here on your ribs, okay? And you're going to come down. I'm actually going to not use my block at all. But you can. We'll just find a cushion or a couple of rolled towels. So you're just getting that space there, and then come down into your child's pose, okay? So let that reach out, palms down. Just give your hips a little wiggle. Okay, and then bring your hands down next to your sides, okay? Palms up. And I want you to put most of the weight of your body on your left leg. Just take a couple of breaths there. Let's let your head rest on the floor. And just let go. Just let this be a real release moment. Let go of any tension in your shoulders and in your jaw, in your low back and your hips. Finding the back of the heart space to breathe into. What do you need to let go of today? Just let everything else but this moment fall away. And now I just want you to take both your feet, nothing else changes, but both your feet just go a little bit off to your left side. Staying with most of your weight on the left, and let that right shoulder drop all the more to the ground. Breathing into your back. Brilliant. And then let both feet nip off to the right a little bit. And kind of being centered slightly left. Fantastic. Letting all that go. Great job. Okay, we're going to use our block now, what we call the drunk bear, okay? Now, this is something that was a name and a move, a position that's come from a woman that I really love to follow and does really great work, Katie Sinclair Fitness. So, hat tip to Katie on this one. So the block will just be under your left knee, and we will only do it on this side, okay? Try to keep your hip above your knee so you don't smush backwards, okay? Your elbow on the ground and face your palm upwards, and then use your right hand just off to your side, okay? So straight arm, light fingertips, get those low ribs in, get your heels kind of to an imaginary wall, because what that does is just connect this part of your pelvis and positions your pelvis, okay? You're using this hand to drive you back to your left side. And just get a little bit of a sense of turning your sternum to this left elbow. Every out breath drops those low ribs, especially on the left back and in. Don't let the hips smush in. Feel like you're slightly lifting your weight off your arms. If it gets a lot on the shoulder, let it work the back of the ribs. Just bring your elbow in. It's probably a fairly needed good movement. Get all that fascia moving a little bit differently than it is used to. Last breath. Great job. Okay, so we're going to change this up, but that positioning that you just found, let me just angle you up a little bit. That positioning that you just found a second ago, I want you to hold on to that. So you have this awareness of your the back of your pelvis meeting the back of your femurs, your lower ribs being down, and especially on this left side, okay? We've already done quite a lot of work to actually get our shoulders back a little bit and engage the shoulder blades engaged with the rib cage. So we're doing great. We've got lots of good things going on for us right now, okay? What we're going to do is what we call the camel pose. This is a fairly standard yoga pose, but we're going to just combine it with these strategies that we've just learned. So when you're coming back, you're going to let your back arch a little bit, and you can just hang on to your butt, you can hang on further down, you can go to your legs, but really, you don't want to just be arching up. That's the difference between the way that you would do it in yoga and the way that we're going to do it now, okay? So we're going to get the sense of opening, but being able to be in a different position without losing this, this relationship that we have between our pelvis and our ribs.
So just go as far back as you're comfortable. You can get your shoulders back. And coming up, you can kind of pull yourself up with one hand if you need to. That's great. Okay, we're going to do one more little round of bear to bear jump, and then we're going to go and lie on our back. Okay, so we're going to go back up into the bear. Use your wall if you've got one, otherwise use your imaginary wall. You're letting your heels awaken the upper hamstring to connect the lower pelvis. You're going to breathe in through your nose with the tongue on the roof of your mouth. And we're going to breathe all the way out. Okay? So just think while you're doing this, while you're using your breath, what resistance you were feeling in that camel position. Where was the resistance and how does it now feel to be back in this position? So just let that mingle around for a little bit while we do these 5 breaths together, okay? Find your imaginary wall, find your breath. Last breath. If you're happy to, jump up into standing. Great. Okay, we're going to go into a couple of things with our back. Just keep your block handy. The things that we're going to do now, you can absolutely do in the gym if you like to use weights, or if you've got weights at home, that is all good. We're just going to use our block for today, okay? So, we're going to be here. We're going to use the block in our hand like so, and I want you to find your heels on the ground. So, just let your heels pull a little bit, okay, up, and let that slightly bring that lower edge of your pelvis at the back towards your heels as well. And just ever so slightly lift your bum, okay, and then feel like you're pulling the left side of your pelvis right from your knee, and without using that little tuck you just put in, down a little bit more to the ground, so that essentially your legs are doing that, okay, they're doing that. This is going to be up. I'm going to come down at a 45-degree angle, and then I'm going to do a really quick exhale, punch that up. And that's the shoulder blade coming around the rib cage to punch up, okay? So don't lose that tuck in your pelvis. Try and keep that left shift. So as you come back, you can really feel the air coming up into these upper ribs, beautifully open. And as you breathe out, you're really letting the lower ribs do their thing. You're keeping the pelvis tucked, and the pelvic floor is coming up with a breath as well. So we're actually getting a lot of power. So I want you to think about the ways in which you feel powerful for these next 3 reps. Really embed that power in all of your body. Think about the places where you felt the resistance before, where you felt the allowing with the back of the heart breath. Good. Finding length through your spine as you're here. we're just going to do 5 reps on the left hand. Have the back of your palm to the ground, get your shoulder blade to the ground. One more. Fantastic. Nice long out breath. Let your whole body just be in contact with the floor for a second. Just letting any tension drop out of your legs and your calves, from your hips and your low back. Really letting our autonomic system pivot between firing up and slowing down, firing up and slowing down. It's a really good habit to get into, that you can absolutely use your cortisol, use your drive, use your willpower, and then know how to not be busy and to be still and ground yourself quite literally. Two more breaths here. We are doing perfectly for time. So, I'm going to come back into our bridge. Okay, and I just want you to hold your block above you. Okay, and I'm going to get you to do that same thing where you pull your heels up towards your bum. Let that pull, this upper hamstring attachment towards your heels, slightly tucking your bottom. Okay, let that left side slide back a little bit more. Keep the right over so you're not just shifting away. Doing great. Okay, I call these bridge skull crushers. So you're gonna, and this is again, you can use a weight if you want to, if you've got it at home or repeat in the gym. You're gonna let your elbows bend. And then let your arms come back as far as they can without losing this. So you don't want to just go flary up, okay? So you're gonna really keep those low ribs in contact. Keep this nice position here. Up and straighten. Elbows. Breathe out and back. Okay, that's 3. We've got 7 more. Breathing out as your weight comes back to really keep these ribs anchored. Reach up into it to breathe in, to give you space in your ribs, so that your shoulder blade can find that lovely spooning relationship. Let it slide and be efficient. And it can be tempting, especially on the way up, to make this one movement. Try and keep it in 2 parts, so the triceps are doing their full range of their job, and it doesn't end up coming from the muscles around your shoulder blade. Your rotator cuff doesn't need any extra work to do. Keep those heels driving into the floor so you feel the hamstring more than your glute preferably. Okay, I think that's 10. Great. Okay, we're going to go back into our bridge. So being here, and then what I want you to do is again just get this little bit of a shift, this left side coming back, find your heels. Okay, now keeping your heels, I'm going to get you to kind of come up onto the toes of one foot and really focus on that upper hamstring connection staying there. We're just going to walk this for 10. nearly there. You're doing great. I quite like to have my palms facing the ceiling on this because it keeps my shoulders open. Don't lose your low ribs. Getting that nice nasal inhale. Let it go all the way out. Last one on each side. And coming down, doing great. Okay, you can let that have a little roll to each side if you want to. Nice. Okay, now come back up to standing. We've got 5 more minutes. I'm gonna be just here. Let me just angle this down so you've got me. Cool. Okay, so what I'd like you to do from here is just stand. So again, find your heels. Now we worked a lot of that back line right now, so you should find this fairly easily. Let those lower ribs drop out. Hope your shoulders feel really different than they did at the beginning. I know mine do. And what I want you to use with your breath now is coming up your spine, right from your tailbone with your breath. And as you breathe out, coming from the bottom lip all the way back down, coming up the back, follow your spine all the way over the top of your head, stay in your heels, breathing out, coming from your bottom lip all the way down, okay? So try and come, how should we do this? Try and come up the front on the right, up the back on the right and down the front on the left, so that we kind of have a bit of an almost clockwise direction to that as well, okay? So just 4 or 5 breaths, just thinking about that. So come up the right side of your spine at the back, coming up over the top of your head and down the left side at the front, coming up the right side at the back, coming down the left side at the front. Follow your spine, the edge of your spine, think about the curves. Okay, your next in-breath, let your arms come up. All the way out. Opening out into your Y. All the way out. And then on this one, just let your feet be a little bit wide. And swing it down. One more. Great. Okay, make your arms nice and loose and heavy. Make sure you don't have too much around you. You're just going to do Tai Chi sways. Good old Tai Chi sways. I love these so much. I put them into every class I've ever done for about the last 10, 15 years. And make your arms really heavy, just coming up on that back toe. It's really, you're turning through your leg, not your pelvis. Let your breath go out, out, out. Oh, that was so good. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will catch up with you again soon. Thanks. Okay, now I have to figure out how to turn it off. It may take me a minute. Okay, I don't want to lose it. glasses. I need my glasses. I think if I tap live, no, okay. I don't know how to stop it. Press to join. That didn't work. I think if I send it to them, okay, that's that bit done. I think if I just press X, hopefully I'm not going to lose it. Where you want to end.